Good afternoon. It is a great honor and privilege for me to address this conference on cross-continental cooperation organized by the International Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. The theme of the conference, cross-continental cooperation, is the most crucial endeavor in the era of globalization, increased human interaction, and interdependence. As you well know, globalization is not a new phenomenon. However, it has recently intensified, especially in the last few decades, and the discovery of new technologies, particularly the internet, such as the social media in general, and improvement in the mode of transportation has all promoted and improved human interaction. These technologies are revolutionary, unparalleled in human history. The positive and negative impacts of globalization have become not only rapid, but also affects millions of people instantly. The speed and impact of globalization, therefore, has become momentous. In light of this situation, cross-continental cooperation has become more and more necessary and imperative. Countries are no more isolated and have increasingly become interdependent and interconnected. Hence, this situation has called for all of us to work together harmoniously. If not, then all of us will face the consequences. If we are all wise enough and exploit the situation, we will definitely have a sustained peace and development. We will be able to reduce poverty, illiteracy, global warming, human misery, and dehumanizing conditions significantly. The global situation has therefore created unparalleled opportunities for all to benefit. Hence, we have to be careful not to squander the opportunities at hand. In the following few minutes, I would like to highlight some of the opportunities that avail themselves to all of us to benefit. The main actors in helping realize these opportunities are sovereign states or countries, as well as non-governmental organizations and civil societies. Hence, there is an utmost need for cross-continental cooperation and the need for all-inclusive and multi-dimensional efforts. Now, opportunities in cross-cultural cooperations. Number one, know, learn, and appreciate different cultures. Know, learn, and appreciate different cultures. In most cases, conflicts arise because of not knowing about others, lack of cultural communications, and understanding the cultures of other societies. Feeling insecure by the mere presence of others and by the postures of leaders who are sheer chauvinists and megalomaniac. History teaches us that the wars are conceived in the minds of the leaders and executed. Unfortunately, the masses shoulder the burden and are victimized. Once these shortcomings are overcome and lasting peace is assured, cross-continental cooperation and understanding will ensure economic development, cultural and educational exchange, and peace building. Therefore, learning and knowing about others and opportunities of different cultures is a primary effort in ensuring a peaceful world. Cross-continental cooperation and efforts similar to this in Washington Summit could help realize the noble ideas. Number two, share scientific knowledge, and help solve human miseries. Exchange of knowledge and scientific endeavors could lead to significant breakthroughs that help discover medicines to fight disease that afflict human beings. Therefore, cross-continental and cross-national networking and collaboration of scientists is important. They can exchange ideas, document and exchange research findings, and thus augment scientific knowledge. The connection and networking of scientists across national boundaries is paramount to building cross-cultural cooperation. The cross-cultural, national, and continental sharing of scientific knowledge, therefore, is essential to scientific progress. Build on knowledge and enhance the effectiveness in solving problems. Cross-cultural cooperation could be an instrument in fostering and enhancing knowledge that could help solve human miseries. Number three, international terrorism and politics of fear. A single continent or nation alone cannot handle some security issues that have emerged, especially after the 9/11 terrorist attacks in the United States. Hence, cross-continental and cross-national, across many different nations, cooperation is of utmost importance to help one feel secure. Diplomatic and political strategies must be set to obviate fear and insecurity and build a structure of peace. Terrorist attacks throughout the world have made life unpredictable, caused untold destruction of both human life and property. The US drone attacks on alleged terrorist bases and individuals that are targeted as terrorists also have complicated the situation, as innocent people have been subjected to collateral damage, feel more and more insecure, and live in fear. In order to find lasting solution to the situation of terrorist attacks, solutions to the core issues that these groups raise must be intelligently addressed. All sides have to feel secure, and that there must be a win-win and not a zero-sum benefit for all parties involved. Such situations are beneficial for cross-continental cooperation and world peace. Number 4, build and nurture youthful leadership and the challenges relating to marginalized minorities. Cross-national and continental cooperation affords the opportunity for young people to come together, know each other, share experiences, and strive to build a better tomorrow for the benefit of all. In this effort, young people from a cross-section of their societies must be represented in such conferences. Young girls, racial minorities, and indigenous people from different cultural backgrounds must participate in such cross-cultural and international summits. Their active involvement and participation could lead them to be constructive leaders of their communities and, by extension, members of the world community. The mosaic human tapestry and rich cultural diversity is an opportunity that enriches cross-cultural diversity and understanding, which helps build sustainable peace by far-sighted leaders. Let it be known that these groups are repository for cultural and human history, the minorities, the indigenous people. Their contributions to global understanding and cooperation have to be recognized and be given due respect. I would like to conclude this section, opportunities in cross-cultural cooperation, by stating that, by and large, we have taken advantage of these opportunities. Some aspects, however, may need to be sharpened by institutions involved in cross-cultural diplomacy, peace building, and similar efforts. Now, I'll try to explain some of the challenges that cross-continental and cross-national corporations face. Needless to say that cross-cultural and cross-national cooperation face some challenges. These challenges emanate from local, national, and international levels. Addressing these challenges, therefore, call for concerted effort from all levels. The following, I believe, are some of the challenges of cross-cultural cooperation. Number one, yearning for fulfillment within the realm of literacy and numerals. I would like to say that illiteracy is one of the major factors that lead to poverty. Second, education must be relevant to jobs and a country's real situation. Currently, 1 out of 5 people in the world are said to be illiterate in the realm of letters. The majority of them are women. As a result, women experience poverty at a higher rate than men, described by the United Nations as the feminization of poverty. Abject poverty has also affected people individually and nations, especially in the global south as a whole. Such institutions, like the one that convened today's meeting, in general, will hinder them from being empowered, such institution, poverty specifically, and place important role in cross-cultural cooperation. In order to increase the participation in national politics and cross-cultural cooperation, poverty has to be conquered by raising literacy rate. Poverty is dehumanizing. Hence, war on poverty need to be continuously waged. People must be aware of their environment and analyze their situations. Number 2, state of democracy. The state of democracy is troubling in most global South countries. A semblance of democracy is being used, such as elections that are usually rigged, to make believe that the leaders are legitimate rulers. Such leaders are accused of denying their citizens their human rights and freedom. Their constitutions may promise these fundamental and God-given rights, but actually the rulers are guilty of violating or denying the fundamental rights of their citizens. Thus, they are generally accused of violating their own constitutions that they have crafted and promulgated. Such a situation will not help build stable and sustainable cross-continental cooperation. The global North countries should also be vigilant in protecting the rights of their own people, especially minority populations. The situation in general is frustrating. Human rights groups and civil rights societies worldwide. In addition, donor countries must use their leverages and pressure countries to respect the rights of citizens. These demands are also in the long-range national interest of donor countries. Number 3, commercial colonialism. Modern commercial enterprises which are involved in business deals such as land grabbing, mainly in Africa and Latin American countries, are forcing indigenous people off their land. Their lands are then leased to corporations from other countries. The lease sometimes is for more than 50 years and at a minimum price. The uprooted and are not consulted in the first place, but are promised much, such as building schools and clinics for the displaced. On the other hand, the promises happen to be empty words, and they end up being exploited laborers. Natural resources on the ground and the subterranean are controlled or owned by foreigners, similar to the colonial period, especially in the settled colonies, when cash crops were introduced. Indigenous people moved to reserve areas and their productive land taken by colonizers and colonizers in general, and the settlers. The current situation of the land grab is thus analogous to colonialism and is referred to as the new colonialism or neo-colonialism. These countries export food items to the countries of land grabbers, while their own people face food shortage and food insecurity. Most of them are engaged in subsistence farming and live hand to mouth. Some land grabbers also pollute the area and dump toxic materials in rivers, which has become health hazard. Pesticides that are used in commercial farming and on farms that grow flowers to export have become health hazard, especially causing neurological afflictions. As such, institutions, unfortunately, hamper intercontinental cooperation. These issues must be given due attention and solutions fought for. As it stands now, the situation jeopardizes meaningful cooperation between the global North and the global South countries, especially as pollution and toxic waste is bound to affect future generations and contribute to global warming and ecological devastation. The new development is that this time around, global South countries such as China and India and Saudi Arabia have become the new economic colonizers and polluters in order to ensure their own food and resource security at the expense of the poor and the indigenous people in Africa and Latin America. Number 4, corruption, unemployment, and high population growth. These situations are undermining the development of countries, marginalizing them, and thwarting their competitiveness globally. Furthermore, such negative situations are bound to deny countries the opportunity to be dependable partners in the intercontinental and intergovernmental relations. In spite of this, of their varied advantages, such as ownership of natural resources, these countries are weakened by the above-mentioned problems, especially by the corruption and conspicuous consumption of their leaders. Furthermore, the moral decadence of some leaders could unfortunately influence the young and future leaders. Population growth, for example, is expected to double in Africa in 2050, from 1.1 billion currently to 2.3 billion. Asia's population will grow from 4.3 billion to 5.3, and Latin America from 599 million to 740 million. By 2050, the total population growth of developing countries is expected to reach 7 billion. The total global population will reach 9 billion. Think about it. Think about it. A lot of mouth to feed, jobs to provide, and environment to protect. In developing countries, the majority of the population is young, unemployed, and do not contribute significantly to the economies of their countries. Unmanaged population growth will burden developing countries. Furthermore, rising unemployment, increased inequality, and stagnant economy is a tickling time bomb and could pose problem for cross-continental cooperation. They are definitely recipes for political instability. In conclusion, I have raised a number of commendable points on one hand and setbacks on the other that either promote or hinder intercontinental cooperation. The issues that are raised here serve as a bridge between nations, which I call opportunities, or hindrances, which I call challenges, that could negatively affect or tarnish relations between nations or communities. In order to have a peaceful world and guarantee security and sustainable peace among nations, we have to build on the positive aspects of our endeavors and work harder to find amicable solutions to some concerns of or points that would work against peaceful world. Efforts must be made by both the global North and global South countries to work closely to overcome politics of miscommunication and come to greater understanding and solve our common problems. That way, we can all join hands and enjoy the opportunities that our world offers and celebrate our achievements. At the same time, confidence must be built among nations and societies in order to come together and tackle our challenges harmoniously and intelligently. As indicated, I am mindful of the forces that are harmful or hamper peaceful coexistence and cooperation. But, as Winston Churchill once said, we don't have to never, 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 never give up. Harmony and peace among all people of the world and countries are priceless. The efforts that the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy is undertaking are commendable and that we must build on its achievements. Thank you very much.